Today we are doing the book review for our March buddy read, which was What the River Knows by Isabella Banez. This one I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to the next one, Where the Library Hides, coming out in November. I think it's a duology. They've been doing a lot of duologies coming out, like with our book box books, so that's kind of cool though. I like it. I'm starting to like the duologies, that everything can be wrapped up, though one of them I will say it could be expanded upon if she wanted to do that. We would all be there for it probably. But the point is this book today, and this one was intriguing, and I think this will be a spoiler free. Okay, I have one question to put to you guys for who's read it if you want to see the spoiler section, because I'm going to try to not give things away because I'm Morgan. If this is your first time here, I really hope you enjoy this video and you'll go check out some of my others. Now, let's talk about this one. This story is a YA historical fantasy. It is set in Buenos Aires and Egypt, mostly Egypt, in the 19th century. So it is our world, thus not a whole lot of world building given, except there is magic in this version. And that is why it's fantasy. I was going to say that's why it's historical. No, the fact that it's in the 19th century is why it's historical. The magic though, it is so interesting because magic itself has kind of been lost to our world. How it worked and the teachings of it were passed down orally until they just kind of weren't, because it was too dangerous to write them. I'm going to stop saying "cause," I promise. Since it was too dangerous to write them though, the knowledge did stop getting passed down, and it is just so interesting the fact that all we have left of this magic are items, remnants of enchanted items. And the more these items are touched, the less they work and they will die out and become useless. And these could be everyday items. Like one of the ones that are used a lot is a sandal that when the clasp is fastened, it emits a blue flame. Like, why? But still, that's awesome. That's hold up our candle sandal. I'm sorry, that was just, I loved that one the most. And these items are introduced as they're like a part, I'm not gonna say like a lot either, they are a part though of everyday life kind of, except some people don't really want magical items. Some people really do. Others do not, because they could be bad consequences. Such as our main character's father. He bought 2 armchairs that he knew were magic touched, and when they put them in their study, they started attacking and flying around. Well, mostly the flying was the problem. And so now they can't even go in that room. Which, it was just an aside story. The little thing that was just given by our main character as something. This book is mostly set in Egypt. We do spend a little bit of time in Buenos Aires, more so we hear about it, and then we're in Egypt. A lot of time in Cairo, and maybe an equal amount in Philae. It's really a toss-up. I'm not sure where she spends more time. And we are given beautiful descriptions, truly. However, I do wish there had been a bit more of a feel to it. As in the author's note, or the thank you note at the beginning, it said another author had really fallen in love with Egypt through the reading and the process of the manuscript. I don't think if this has been like my first brush with Egypt, it would have been enough for that. So that's a bit misconstruing. I would love more details, more scenes, more atmosphere. And I'm not even a huge atmosphere reader, but just more immersion into it maybe. There's that. And of course it is blurbed or comped to saying it is Death on the Nile meets The Mummy. Having never read Death on the Nile, or did they make that into one of the movies that they're making her movies lately, her books into movies? I'm not sure. It's still, it does give Mummy vibes, but that's I think mostly with our characters and how they're portrayed. I don't know who fell first in The Mummy. I mean, our characters. Our main one that we will pretty much see through the whole time is Inez Oliveira. She is a young lady, 19 I believe, who has grown up in the privilege of high society Buenos Aires. While she has had this life of privilege and education and been able to pursue art and learning about Egypt, which is, unusual, and she has had a freedom, but her life hasn't been, all happy because she doesn't actually get to see her parents for most of every single year. They are constantly traveling to Egypt to be on archaeological dig sites with her uncle, her mother's older brother, as he is an archaeologist in Egypt with his brother-in-law trying to unearth and preserve Egyptian history. Thus, her whole life, she has always wanted to see Egypt, this land that has captured her parents' fascination so much. And they have always told her no. They've always denied her ability to come, which is weird in its own regard. I do understand it a bit later on, but the fact of one thing seeming like it wasn't known until like the last few years or something, why was it never a place she was allowed to go? Thus, Inez has been sheltered her entire life, and so when she does find out about what happens to her parents and she goes off on her own, which yes, it is a very cunning plan to dress as a widow and travel all this way on your own. She's not dumb, she's just incredibly naive and has never had to think through these situations, so she has never actually thought of what consequences might be or what might happen because of her actions. Our other character, though, is Whitford Hayes, who works for her uncle. He's her uncle's assistant, and I would classify him as an everything sort of assistant because he'll help on the dig sites. He'll help with, running the boat, helping with this. They're going to make appointments. He also goes and spies. And it was so surprising to actually get to see it from Whit the first time, even though it was only just like the one line, the what the hell. As it goes on, you do get more from Whit, and those are awesome. I love seeing his perspective. He is a very, very guarded young man, though I think he's 20 to 22, somewhere in there. He's young. He was an officer before he worked for her uncle. There was just a lot. There was a lot that was to like. His swagger, his smirks, his flirtatiousness, which is all pretty much a mask. And though somehow this very naive person sees straight to the heart of that. Our main plot line, though, of the book is that Inez does find out that her parents have died or gone missing. They're presumed dead. Her uncle tells her that they had gone out onto an excavation or something to find something, and they were never seen again. And he waited weeks and searched for them forever. Well, he searched for them everywhere, not forever. He waited several weeks searching for them everywhere he could think of before eventually letting the authorities know that they were missing and they're just presumed dead at this point. And he let Inez know that they had passed. And he assumed she would stay in Buenos Aires with her other aunt, her dad's sister, and just continue to be raised that way and have her life there. Nobody wanted her to come to Egypt, so Inez took herself to Egypt to find out. In the description, it's just she took herself to Egypt and had to deal with her uncle's assistant as she is being pulled by this mysterious ring that was the last thing her father sent to her, because it's a magic touched item, and she is getting the scent of roses whenever she wears it. It is a very powerful magic touched item, so it's very rare. I did not expect quite the mystery that we were going to get. Okay, so maybe we should have assumed that there was more mystery, but it was. There was a lot of things that were uncovered, and a lot of things, though, that kind of just got smoothed over at the same rate. But it's a YA, so we have to forgive it for some of those things, because it's not going to have that depth level or intrigue level quite like beggar fantasy. Our one spoiler. I'm gonna say it. It's more of a question. Well, I guess it'll require a bit of an explanation. Fixing to say the spoiler, though, so you can go ahead and skip forward, or you can leave the video if you really want to, but I would appreciate it if you would just keep watching. That way, algorithm time run. So the one question I have is, was it Whit's fault? Or did he mean for that to happen? We talked about this in the Discord, and we're not sure. It just, he did the thing, and then the really bad thing happened. And why did he do that? Like, Tio Ricardo was still trying to talk to the American when Whit just jumped forward, and then that ended up happening, and I'm like, did he do that on purpose? And then I read the epilogue and I'm like, oh my god, did he do that on purpose? What's going on? What is Whit searching for? What is the play of his family? And oh my god, I need Inez to grow up. Not even just grow up, but just open your eyes to the world. Please don't be so naive in the next book. You have had the worst things happen to you in this one. Please do not be so naive in the next book. I need you to be better. I need you to be a grown-up and think things through and be a smarter lady, because she is so smart, I feel like, if she puts her mind to the right things. I don't remember if I said at the beginning, but this was a 4-star read, and it's just, if we could have gotten more of the setting, of the scenes, of details and actual descriptions of Egypt or anything like that, it could have probably been a little bit higher. And also, if I may, because there was a lot of things that, like, as the reader, you're like, oh no, that's, and she couldn't. One of them, I will give it to her. It would totally be clouded by emotions, and anybody might not have first jumped to this conclusion because emotional connection, but yeah. Overall though, I really enjoyed this. I can't wait for the sequel to come out in November. Where the Library Hides. I really can't. And I hope to explore some things that kind of didn't go anywhere. One thing didn't go anywhere in this book. It was brought up early on, and it seemed like it should be something important. And by the end, like the last chapter, we only got like 1-2 lines to mildly resolve it. This is available on Kindle Unlimited, if I didn't say that already, which is where I actually read the most of it and protected my Owl Crate edition. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you'll go check out some of my others if you like my style, and subscribe. We do new releases videos every Monday where you can come and find new books to add to your TBR. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope I see you in the next one.